picked him up rather than come to you when he got picked up and ask you to consider a bond and getting him out. We left him in there on purpose to pay his penance. And we're asking you to follow the plea bargain if you would.
All right. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishments be assessed at 2 years in the prison. There's a $500 fine. And it says that both parties agree that if he didn't show up for sentencing, he would be subject to the full range of punishment. So State, are you still proceeding with the plea bargain agreement?
Your Honor, in light of him not showing up, I believe the full range, as it says in the agreement, at this point, we'll defer to the court for the reasoning behind that he didn't show up and if it was a valid reason.
Right. You want to call your client as a witness to explain?
Yes.
Could you raise your right hand for me?
Raise your hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can lower your hand, state your name for the record. State your name for the record. All right, why didn't you show up for court?
Because I have some problems.
We all have problems, but you're not telling me what your problems were.
Well, first of all, my daughter had her baby, but I came up with I was sick too, so my corona.
Everybody used coronavirus as an excuse, but did you provide any medical documentation that you had that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
I have that.
No. Did you provide any medical documentation to the court that you were ill?
I can't go out. I'm sick.
I think I did. I should have. Do you have any?
I do not. Not for the date you're addressing, Judge.
Yes. So you did not. Because if you would have, I would have that. And I don't have it.
I'm shocked.
So you don't have any paperwork at all?
I don't have anything to show that you were ill, and that's the reason why you didn't show up for your sentencing. I do have that I was lenient with you to allow you to get your affairs in order and to come back on a different date for sentencing. That's what I have. So why shouldn't I sentence you to beyond the 2 years? Because that's your agreement. Your agreement is if you don't show up for sentencing, you are subject to the full range of punishment. So my question to you is, why shouldn't I sentence you to 20 years?
Say that again, please.
Your agreement was that if you did not show up for your sentencing date, that your range of punishment would be up to 20 years in prison. You did not show up. So the question is, why shouldn't I send you to prison for 20 years?
Why are you yelling at me?
I most definitely didn't understand that one.
No, you did, because it's a part of your plea bargaining agreement. And what I can tell you, and I'm sure your counsel will tell you this, and even though this is a new prosecutor to this court, I go over the plea bargaining agreement in great detail and ask on the record, do you understand that to be the plea bargaining agreement? And usually, well, not usually, every time I ask the defendant first, do you understand that to be the plea bargaining agreement? And they will say yes. Then I will either ask the state of the defense attorney, is that the plea bargaining agreement? And I can tell you that you were aware that you were subject to the entire range of punishment. So we're back to this. Why shouldn't I sentence you to 20 years? Because that was your bargain, that if you didn't show up for court, that you will be subject to the full range of punishment. And I remember all of the people who say, give me some extra time and I will show up.
What was going on with your daughter?
Yeah, I mean, she have a baby next month or whatever, you know what I mean? But I don't think.
What do you mean she has her baby next month? You told me she already had the baby.
No. She went in the hospital because she was sick. I thought that she wasn't going to even, that she was going to lose the baby or whatever, you know what I mean?
And when did this happen?
Like last month.
All right, so that happened last month, so that would have been January. So that still doesn't explain why you didn't show up for your sentencing on November. You were set for sentencing on November 3rd. Here's the thing. Sometimes people don't have an excuse. Sometimes it's like, I made a bad decision. I was enjoying my free life out here, and I just didn't show up. So I'm trying to figure out, is that your case, or is there something else that was going on in your life? Because you're looking at 20 years in prison.
That he doesn't have an excuse that we want to offer at this time. He does. I mean, I agree with the court. You did admonish him. He understood that. I'm concerned. I mean, as we stand here today, he's not near as cognizant as I've dealt with as he's been in the past.
We're talking about Willis.
I'm somewhat concerned about that, but he's not a man of means. When that November date came, his phone was cut off. We were not able to locate him. I mean, he didn't. I mean, I know I spoke to him after that when his daughter was sick, but we'd ask you not to sentence him to 20 years. We don't think that's, we hope that that's not what the court decides to do, but if the court decides, we ask the court to follow the plea bargain and perhaps give him 3 years, 3 years. No, I've been indicated that the court takes this seriously and.
All right, state.
In lieu of the explanation of the judge, the state, with previous negotiations that they have in our file, we believe the appropriate sentence would be 5 years.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. 4 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served, take in consideration 2021 CR 2207, 2021 CR 1465, 2021 CR 2771. The court will give you credit for any time served. There's a $500 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
That's your signature.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to your attorney. Do you understand? We can go off the record. Mr. Carroll, I always, when attorneys say, can you give my client some extra time to report? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I take it very seriously when I give someone time to report, because when you think about it, somebody's saying, all right, I'm going to show up and I'm going to take my prison sentence. You didn't show up. And that's a problem. And if there would have been a good explanation, things may have turned out differently.
I don't even remember even.
What is wrong with you?
All right, so you can have him have a seat. They're supposed to impact. There's not?
No.
All right, thank you.
Judge, sorry, we're just going to go ahead and surpass that because.
All right, thank you.